Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, hari ini kita bersama episod podcast kita Memori Haramain, Memori Indah Mekah Madinah. InsyaAllah hari ini kita ada tetamu istimewa. Hari ini kita buat di pejabat kita, dan diucapkan terima kasih kepada tetamu kita yang sudi hadir ke pejabat kita. InsyaAllah, segmen podcast kita ditaja oleh Amru, Butik Kelengkapan Haji dan Umrah Anda, insya-Allah. Okey, sebelum saya introduce, kita punya tetamu, briefly tentang tetamu kita. Tetamu kita adalah tetamu pertama kita, yang daripada jemaah haji tahun inilah, 2025, ataupun 1446 Hijrah. Um, Quite muda, agak muda. Okey, antara yang antara bukanlah termuda, tapi antara yang orang-orang muda lah, orang-orang kuat. Yang pergi haji dan seorang profesional lah, okey. Kita, introduce, kita punya jemaah haji iaitu Haji Adam Johari. Betul? Okey,
Betul, betul.
okey.
Assalamualaikum.
Boleh introduce sikit, your background, your age?
Sure. Nama saya Adam bin Johari. 41 years old. Work in a bank right now. Um, I got introduced to MIM from my friend who went to Haji with MIM the year before.
Last year.
Shout out to my friend
Ijai kot.
Ijai. Ijai. Yeah, so 41 years old, went to Haji with my wife. She's also the same age, 41 years old as well. And got introduced to him from our friend. If we go back a bit, uh, I went to Haji with under my wife's P1 punya
Kota.
quota, because didn't know that much about Haji process and whatnot from my side, from my family side. So I didn't register until last year.
Last year you just registered?
2024, I registered. And then my allocation to go to Hajj was actually in 2157, something like that. So basically, I could die today, live, die again, third time maybe can go to Haji lah. So I'm really grateful that my late father-in-law had the insight to register my wife and her brothers back in 2009, I think. So they always had a Tabung Haji account, but they registered to go to Hajj, right? In 2009, I think. And so I just wrote off of her P1.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, actually, he must be thankful to his wife lah. Luckily, nak cari isteri, cari yang daftar tabung haji awal sebab tu dia tak ada isu. Nanti, so Haji Adam ni antara yang lelaki jugalah sebab dia baru daftar haji tahun lepas, 2024. Kalau ikutkan gilirannya macam katanya dah mati hidup balik pun mungkin tak tentu lagi. Anak-anak dia mungkin dah tua, mati hidup balik pun sama juga. Jadi, untuk pengetahuan the process of P1 ni ataupun jemaah yang dapat tawaran ni, dia mesti daftar awal dan, alhamdulillah macam Haji Adam kata, arwah bapa mertua dia mendaftarkan anak-anak dia awal. So bagi siapa yang, dah lahir anak boleh daftar awal supaya peluang dia lebih cepatlah. Alhamdulillah, that's your experience, quite young. Dan, because your background is risk analyst.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sajalah nak tanya. Do you study about the risk of choosing this PJH?
Actually, we did a lot. When I say a lot, I mean a lot of research before we picked MIM. And so me and my wife, we went to, what's that place in
Carnival. Carnival Haji.
Movenpick. No,
Yeah, Movenpick,
Movenpick.
yes.
We went to Movenpick. We went twice. We went 2 days
Okay,
straight.
2 days.
We took all the brochures. And then after we took all the brochures, we discussed amongst the family members, because that year it was going to be me, my wife, and her brothers, and maybe possibly their wives as well. So there were a lot of us that were supposed to go for Hajj, right? And it ended up with, after doing a lot of research and talking to my friend who introduced me to MIM last year, it ended up with me and my wife going with MIM, and then her two siblings going with different agencies lah. Uh, happy to say, I think we made the best choice, lah.
Okay.
Founding news, lah. But we did a lot of research. Cost was, of course, one of them. Dapatlah diskaun sikit lah. Sebab P1 dapat diskaun sikit. But yeah lah, I think when it comes to choosing, right, people's testimonials is the number one thing I would look at. So when my friend could describe in quite detail the benefits of going with MIM, right? And I brought all the brochures. We went to a restaurant and me and my wife and him and his wife, we discussed everything, right? It was quite, yeah lah, quite you know, definitive lah. Final decision was to go with MIM lah. Of course, PU Hafiz tu
Bonus lah.
itu bonus lah. Itu terbaik lah. Ada PU Hafiz kan.
Alhamdulillah. Dia agree or not, actually after you're going this Hajj, one of the most important thing is about bimbingan. How ni guide you because haji is, I think maybe this is first and the last maybe kan. So
Rasanya last lah kot. Kalau nak bagi peluang ke orang lain lagi kan.
betul lah. So what I mean was apa ni bimbingan ataupun guide untuk haji ni, kalau you tak buat betul-betul sekarang, maybe you don't know bila lagi kan. This is once lifetime lah.
Yeah.
So you agree with that?
I agree. Yeah, I love PU Hafiz. Memang every time dia cakap kan, kita pun macam kena menahan, tak nak nangis kan. Because dia memang when he talks about things kan, memang menusuk jiwa lah. I think it's hard to explain it, right? Until you go for it yourself. Lepas tu you dengar dia cakap, and then he'll, especially when berkaitan dengan benda-benda sirah kan. So talk about perang Bukit Uhud, and then there was you talk about the sahabat-sahabat Nabi yang korbankan diri and whatnot. But the way, bila dia cerita kau macam like, rasa macam humble, and at the same time rasa terharu. So kena banyak kali kena macam menahan diri from nangis lah.
Okay, kita throwback before haji. Actually, tadi kita sembang-sembang before this. You said that actually you did your first umrah.
Yeah, I did.
I think 2014.
2014, I think. Yeah.
I think about 11 years, past 11 years. Okay.
Lama dah.
That one is your first time lah.
First time
with your wife.
My wife and her family.
Okay.
So yeah, my late father-in-law brought us there.
Okay, I nak tanya, biasa tanya lah. What was your feeling masa mula-mula you tengok the first you talk Kaabah everything? That one.
Kaabah rasa macam, I can't remember. To be honest, back in 2014, it was quite long ago. But I remember it not being, tak ramai sangat orang sini.
Yes.
Tak ramai sangat orang sebab time tu time umrah kan. And but I mean, it was such a long time ago, to be honest with you. Tak ingat sangat.
But okay lah, tak apa, tak ingat.
Yeah.
But
when with MIM, I nampak Kaabah tu memang
lain lah. Actually, this is your second time lah after the first time.
Yeah.
So actually you can feel the difference lah.
That's the difference. So every time we go pray again, technically you can pray in your room. Obviously tak masuk. So every time we go to Tanah Haram, the Masjid Haram, right? Masjid Haram. We always try to find a spot yang boleh nampak Kaabah. So if you go to gate 100, for those who go there, right? Go to gate 100. Don't go all the way to the front. Go somewhere in the middle. If you're taller,
this is tips,
boleh nampak Kaabah. It's somewhere in the middle, but it's only for guys, so girls tak nampak. For guys, gate 100 is in the new building. The building baru kat belah kiri tu.
Oh yes.
So you go to gate 100. That building. Then go somewhere in the middle. You can nampak Kaabah. So nampak Kaabah tu is
different feel lah.
Feeling dia memang
dia tak sama tengok TV.
Like no. You cannot.
Because
tak dapat.
Because the difference, but you ada live masa tu. I
Hmm.
mean, ibaratnya you solat depan kiblat you, yang you nampak kiblat. Instead of you just
Yeah.
follow the direction.
Hmm.
Okay, thank you for your experience tu. Okay, like I said before, you are among quite youngest. I mean, among your
Yeah.
friend pun also,
Kesatuan muda.
maybe di kalangan kawan-kawan pun, your friends circle pun maybe tak ramai lagi yang pergi haji.
Hmm.
Include your Ijai Kul tu. So I
Yeah.
think yang lain-lain pun masih lagi panggil belum. You are among
Yeah.
yang the earliest and called. Masa you dapat tawaran yang nak pergi haji tu, apa your friends and family punya, I mean, dia ada cakap apa-apa tak? I mean,
Most of them reaksi dia orang macam tu lah, like, oh, so young dah boleh dapat haji lah. Like, oh yeah, because the wife dah dapat kan.
credit to the wife.
But that is the normal reaction lah, because usually I have one friend ni kerek sikit kan. Tak adalah kerek. Dia macam like, tak apa bro, aku tak nak pergi haji sekarang. Aku nak pergi haji bila aku dah kumpul sikit dosa kan. bila dah tua baru nak pergi haji lah. But I don't think so lah. I think because sekarang nak pergi haji dah starting to become very difficult. It's hard to get haji. And then I know they talk about like, oh, you to pergi haji, but I don't feel that special lah, to be honest. I just feel lucky lah to be able to get this opportunity to pergi haji. And yeah lah, the reaction of people is, oh, you're young. I mean, yeah lah. Are you ready for it? So kita orang banyak juga preparation, especially my wife lah. So she's
I
very
mean, say physically or spiritually?
both lah, both. Maybe more physically lah. Beli barang-barang takut dekat Arafah tu nak gantung baju semua kan. So we brought banyak barang just to accommodate for haji kan. Bawa power bank lah, beli power strip, yalah, all those things lah. Bawa sabun basuh baju. But there's a lot of courses you have to go to. Macam kursus haji kan
Yes,
banyak.
kursus asas haji.
Ada 12 kursus haji, and then ada
Yes. You attend all?
most.
But you agree or not? Actually, the amali ataupun dia punya practical, you akan banyak belajar di sana, di Azizia.
Yeah, I
Agree.
think you dengan bimbingan ustaz semua, I think is better lah dekat sana lah. Dekat sini macam like
You tak nampak kan kat sini just
no lah,
just theory.
theory ada lah.
Some
Kadang-kadang
practical.
dia orang buat khabar kecil tu, practical. Yeah, but it's not the same lah. It's not the same.
Bila you pergi especially yang jamrah tu kan, you ada attend yang jamrah tu kan?
Jamrah ada.
Yes. That's
Unta
the
kat jamrah
situation.
kecil. But the real jamrah is like quite large.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's help a lot lah. Okay. Agree or not that I can say from what you said, from your friend and everything, you are lucky to go for Hajj at the young age and
yes, very
then
lucky.
still strong. Right?
Still strong. I felt macam sebab I muda kan. Muda. But I felt like us young ones, right? Macam ada a little bit of obligation to help the older ones lah. So kalau nampak someone struggling going up Bukit kat Azizia tu nak pergi melontar ke apa kan, kita akan tolong lah semua. There's benefits lah. Rasa macam
Some privilege lah.
not privilege, but it's more like macam a sense of duty lah. Macam like, oh, you know what? I have all this energy. I should kalau I don't know how to say this without degrading myself, but I rasa macam maybe if I ada kekurangan in terms of like amalan or whatnot, right? I can make up for it. I can make up for it by doing physical stuff. So macam kalau I boleh tawaf haji, I would do it as many times. So I did do umrah 7 times.
Oh, Alhamdulillah.
So me and the gang, the young gang.
Young gang, mates.
Kita orang naik taxi all the time just to go to Mikat.
Yes.
Mikat.
Tanaim.
Tanaim. We went there and go back. So when you're young, you have all this energy, you boleh lakukan lagi banyak ibadat because it's very physical.
Yes, physical.
It's super physical. So if you're young, you can do it lah. Takut nanti dah tua, I can't
Ah.
imagine like doing so many things
Because you
physical lah.
you saw all the elderlies yang susah kan?
Ada yang susah sikit. I mean, of course lah, ada you boleh naik bagi
bagi,
and whatnot, but
Still physical lah.
but if you're physically fit, tak kisahlah umur kalau tua pun,
Betul
but
lah.
if you're fit, you should take the opportunity to do all these things while you're fit lah. Sama pahala lah.
Betul lah. Dia
Tolong lah.
indirectly at the same time macam you cakap tadi, you ada peluang untuk tolong orang yang lebih tua because you are younger lah. Okay, so good. Sebab kita sebenarnya salah satu tujuan kita nak encourage young people. Kadang-kadang mungkin ada sedikit kesedaran lah. It's not about you, macam you cakap tadi lah, your friend apa semua kan. Mungkin sebab kadang sometimes people think that okay, aku still muda lah, but we don't know bila kita mati pun. And then this is one of the time yang kalau kita ada peluang, kalau contoh kita ada niat pun, I think that's counted lah. So kalau kita plan, InsyaAllah lah, macam you cerita your friend tadi, bila dia dah balik ni dia pun dah tak nak.
Yeah, I have a friend, dia dah pergi haji. Lepas dia balik daripada haji, dia tak nak dah pergi konsert-konsert. The concert is not like, bukannya concert yang
teruk-teruk kan.
yang teruk sangat pun kan. You can probably just sit there, tapi itu pun dia cakap.
Konsert orang tua.
Dia ni lah. Dah reject lah.
Dia sedikit sebanyak dia ada some ni lah, change lah.
Change lah.
Walaupun tak banyak tapi some change lah. Okay, I think untuk the first punya bahagian dah selesai. Kita rehat sekejap untuk kita bagi peluang minum air dulu.
Okay.
Later kita akan sambung the next part. InsyaAllah. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okey, bertemu kembali dalam sesi podcast yang kali ini yang ditaja oleh Amru, Butik Kelengkapan Haji dan Umrah Anda. Okey, kita sambung cerita menarik tentang haji. Sebab main highlight kita pasal haji. Sebab ni baru lebih kurang 3 bulan kot baru balik, lebih kurang. Lebih kurang 3 bulan. Tadi dalam grup orang kata 100 hari. Betul lah kot, 100 hari lepas balik daripada Haramain. Alhamdulillah. So masih lagi fresh lah rasanya. Masih lagi fresh. Kita minta cerita tentang pengalaman haji. Sebab dalam haji ni kan, dia dalam banyak-banyak tu orang panggil memorable part adalah masa Masyair ataupun 5 hari itulah, 6 hari itulah yang paling mencabar physical and mental. Agree or not? Mental also.
Yes, definitely.
Jadi Haji Adam dia ada cerita dia, saya rasa, saya yakin tahun ni pula ada cabaran dia berbeza daripada tahun-tahun sebelum dia. Jadi kita minta Haji Adam cerita your experience daripada Masyair tu. Masyair tu bermula daripada yang di Aziziyah dan Haji lah, bermula wukuf dan seterusnya sampai semualah.
I'm trying to remember.
Start from wukuf.
So wukuf ke Arafah.
Yes,
okay.
wukuf,
So
we went
Arafah
8 Zulhijjah.
so Arafah, you're prepared by a lot of people. People will say, oh, Arafah ni susah gila, Arafah susah. And then when you actually go there, kan, sebenarnya it's not as hard as you think it is. So dekat Arafah tu dia ada kemah, ada aircon. Memanglah waktu tengah hari tu dia macam panas sikit lah. And then you're cramped inside the kemah, but actually it's more selesa than you would think lah.
Betul.
But my mind was prepared for it lah. I was like, oh,
Prepared for the worst lah.
susah. Mesti susah nak guna tandas lah, for example. But actually, no. Tandas it was quite...
Not that worst lah.
Tak ada beratur. Tandas besar kan, like 2 floors. It was easy to ambil air semayang, easy to guna tandas. And dekat Arafah, we were baca doa non-stop baca
During
doa.
wukuf,
waktu wukuf Arafah. So at times kita baca dalam kemah tu, at times kalau boleh kita nak keluar baca
yes.
doa because ada hadis or something like that, they say malaikat akan turun lah. So you don't want to have
Boundaries.
you don't want to have a roof above you lah basically. You want to be straight to the sky and so yeah, so that was great and kita baca non-stop doa. You know, me and my wife baca doa banyak. We have a long list. I baca doa member kirim doa and office mate kirim doa untuk anak dia berjaya SPM. Baca semua. Baca doa untuk bos semua. Bagilah hati dia tenang. That kind of stuff kan. So I did all that. And it wasn't as tough as I thought it was going to be. Because yalah, sekarang dah ada kemah semua. Air dia, luar kemah tu disediakan air, air sejuk. So somebody was giving out ice cream. So it was a good experience. Kita baca doa non-stop and you know, nangis semua baca doa. Great. And then, but what I wasn't prepared for was the next day. Because Muzdalifah. So Muzdalifah, certain people, if you get a more expensive package, you would just take a bus and then you go through it. So, but and then there's some of people like me, that didn't take the more expensive package, and we had to go to Muzdalifah and we were supposed to sleep there lah.
Actually, sorry actually that's the most sunnah yang paling dekat dengan
Sunnah
yang
paling
Nabi
dekat.
kan,
So some people they choose to do it. They choose to do it because they nak ikut sunnah.
Yes.
And some people macam I tak tahu sangat because I probably should have learned more about it, but it's okay. Kita pergi Muzdalifah and that was very, very challenging for a few reasons lah. One, ramai gila orang kat Muzdalifah. Is an open air area and then they just have carpets dia maybe slightly thicker than this, but then you have to sleep on a carpet.
Yes.
So you know, I was okay with that lah initially. I just slept there. I memang senang tidur. So buat apa, baring
Lagi-lagi dah
letak.
penat kan?
Mind you, when we go to Muzdalifah, we're carrying a lot of baggage.
Yes.
So kita datang daripada Arafah.
Betul.
So we will bring our power strip semua, baju-baju semua.
Preparation ni.
Banyak barang. It's probably like 5, 6, 7 kilo macam tu. So I just put it on the floor, my bag, and then I tidur on my bag, which is fine lah. Bangun pagi sakit-sakit badan sikit lah. So what I didn't know was after you dah bermalam dekat Muzdalifah tu, you're supposed to wait for a bus to bring you closer to Jamrah, right? I think
Mina.
to Mina. Mina. Okay, yeah. So the bus is supposed to go there and then you're supposed to walk 4 kilometers lah.
Yes.
To tempat melontar.
Jamrah, yes.
But that bus is not prepared. The service for that bus is not given by Malaysians, by Malaysia or MIM or not Muassasah lah, right? It's provided by the Saudi government.
Yes, Saudi government.
And you don't know what nombor giliran your bus is in the morning. So lepas main subuh tu, they were telling us, oh, your bus number 20 or something like that. So we project you to take the bus around 8 a.m. like that. They say anggaran dia lah is around 8 a.m. Mind you, 8 a.m. dah start panas.
Sangat panas. Subuh awal.
Dah panas sikit. Panas sikit. By 9 a.m. memang panas gila.
Betul. Matahari atas kepala.
Yeah. So, and kebetulan, the second reason, I was super sick. On that day, I was very, very sick.
This one after Muzdalifah or masa ke Arafah?
No. Arafah dah still okay. Muzdalifah, I don't know. For some reason, malam tu, I was very sick. It was macam, like, say 8 a.m., it was starting to get warm, man. But I was shaking cold. And then my mental pun dah start worrying kan. Like, oh, lepas ni, kalau dapat naik bus pun, I have to walk 4 kilometers.
Yes.
I don't think I can walk 4 kilometers. in this kind of condition lah kan. Rasa demam gila. So we waited for the bus. 8 a.m. bus tak datang. Bus 9 a.m. tak datang. And what I was doing, I was just looking at the shadow of the toilets because the toilets very tall, so they have the shadow casting downwards, right? I was looking at the shadow, and the shadow is getting smaller. So I swear, oh, and I'm just playing in my head. Oh, this is how people die. This is how people die. Like, this is how people die in doing Hajj, right? Because it's hot and they have to walk in this kind of weather, and then ditambah dengan demam dia kan. Habislah. Maybe hari ni kot aku mati.
But this is a mental, right?
But
Maybe
this is mental aspect of it lah. So I think around like 10 a.m. like that, people were starting to give up. So it's not just Mim who was there at Muzdalifah. There were other
companies.
agencies, travel haji agencies, I guess. Malaysians, Malaysian agencies that were there, and one of them just gave up. They were like, you know what? Auntie, uncle, makcik, pakcik, jom kita jalan je. Jalan 7 kilometers all the way to tempat melontar kan. So as they were doing that, and they were Mutawif dia muda tau. From that company was muda, and they're kind of like forcing, tak adalah force, but like compelling lah. Dia macam cakap dengan all these orang-orang tua kan. I saw like a 60, 70-year-old auntie and macam barely can walk. Bag berat because daripada Arafah kan. And they were starting to walk in the hot sun, and time tu like me and my wife dah start nangis lah. Because I rasa not all of them going to survive. Alhamdulillah, I heard 10 orang pengsan or something like that, but none of them died.
Oh, okay.
From that
that company
agency,
lah.
that company. So yalah, we were worried, and then nampak gaya macam bus takkan datang, you know, and yalah, tak tahulah janji orang Arab macam janji dia tak datang langsung kan. So, but that was the time that I thought Mim shined the best. That I'm a mathematician. I'm a risk manager, right? I thought the way Mim handled that situation was the best out of anything you could imagine lah. Because Mim, I don't know, Haji Iman ke siapa, or maybe ramai-ramai, including you, Haji Izzat, you guys were able to get a bus from Somalia. I nampak you lari-lari cari bus, and was able to somehow lah, tak tahulah macam mana korang boleh dapat bus untuk kita orang go from. Well, initially I thought the bus was going to drive from Muzdalifah to
Mina.
To Mina, yeah. So 4 kilometers away from tempat melontar.
Betul.
So I thought, oh, kalau naik bus pun I still have to walk 4 kilometers in this condition. I'm not sure if I would make it lah. Tapi alhamdulillah somehow dah naik bus tu kan. Somehow Mim was able to convince the driver, let's go straight to Azizia Hotel, which is close by to tempat melontar lah, tempat Jamrah kan. So nak puji diri sendiri sikit lah. When you got those buses, and before that there were some buses yang some people dapat naik lah kan. And then semua orang macam berebut semua nak naik bus. But I told my wife, because we were young. We are young kan. I tak nak go to this haji and berebut dengan orang, and berebut dengan orang tua nak naik bus dulu kan. Bagilah dia naik dulu. We just wait for the last one lah kan. So that last bus was the one that went to Azizia.
The
only bus pergi Azizia. And
that's your reward from Allah tu.
Itu gila lah. Time tu I was talking to my wife and some other people that we knew dalam bus kan, like, oh gila lah, kita memang
lucky
gila because this is funny. I don't know how true this is lah, but um, I probably didn't tell people, but my daughter is OKU, so she has autism, non-verbal. So dekat Arafah, me and my wife were praying, and one of the prayers that we did was, you know what? Kalau kita dah I don't know, kalau ditakdirkan mati awal lah kan. Please don't mati. Please don't kill us. Allah, let us live longer lah kan, so we can take care of our daughter. So somehow I feel that doa kan, waktu kat Muzdalifah, maybe I was destined to mati hari tu. But
Because of that doa.
because of that doa, dipanjangkan. I mean, I don't know how real that is lah, or whatever it is lah. But I really felt that macam I avoided something really, really bad that day lah.
Yes.
Okay, let's not put it to, I don't know hidup mati ajal ni semua tangan Allah kan. I
But
don't
at
know.
that time you rasa memang dah
I was really sick.
out lah.
Memang sick, and I could not walk even that far pun lah. Rasa demam, rasa macam dah start pening-pening kan. And minum banyak air pun still rasa pening kan. It's like, oh no, this is not good lah. But yeah, so that was when I thought MIM shined the best lah. And you can compare it lah. You can compare it to other agencies. Other agencies they force not force, but they encourage their people to struggle and walk sampai 10 orang pengsan semua. And MIM tried their very best, and I think I don't know lah. I didn't see it from any other agency lah that would go that far lah to make sure that the people were well taken care of.
Okay.
That's my opinion lah. That's my opinion.
Thank you so much. Sebenarnya one of the reason kita terpanggil nak panggil Haji Adam ni sebab kita tersentuh dengan the message kita macam it's like support macam semua orang, ramai orang mungkin tak faham macam mana that situation. Sebenarnya situation kat Muzdalifah ni tak pernah ada rasanya sebab kita punya pekerja kat sana yang kerja berpuluh-puluh tahun pun dia kata this is the first time yang the earliest bus pun siang tengah panas tak sampai lagi. Jadi actually this is their first time punya experience dan quite worse dan happen to them. Dan luckily we are trying our best dan actually mungkin ramai lagi dapat, cuma yang kita dapat message yang directly cakap pasal ni ialah him lah. Kita rasa macam nak menangis tengah-tengah kita tengah ni apa ni tengah stress ni dapat message ni, wow, kita rasa macam terharu lah. Thank you for your appreciate lah.
I think lah, we have to understand, like, not everything will go according to plan, and especially haji berapa juta orang pergi kan. There will be hiccups. There will be hiccups. It's impossible lah you pergi haji perfect lah. Impossible lah. I don't think even if you paid for the most expensive package pun takkan ada dia punya ujian or kekurangan or circumstances change kan. It could be weather very hot, something happen, makanan boleh some makanan basi. I mean something can happen lah, right? But I think that's the time when in war times, that's when you get heroes. And somewhere macam ni, this difficult time, this difficult situation, I thought MIM handled it very, very well lah. Very, very well. Very well.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for that.
And that's the story I tell to all my friends yang nak pergi haji pun, even family members yang nak pergi haji, I'll tell them that story lah. I'll specifically tell the story.
Actually, siapa yang dah pernah pergi haji mesti akan rasa sebenarnya bila dah pergi haji, sebenarnya dia yang paling orang panggil kita akan ingat sweet memory adalah Muzdalifah sebenarnya. Dan this year pula dia kena ujian dia yang berbeza, which is biasanya Muzdalifah ni siapa yang tak pernah pergi haji, dia adalah kita bermalam sebahagian malam lah ataupun sehingga subuh lah. Sunnahnya selepas subuh Rasulullah dia pergi ke Mina lah. Tapi biasanya kebiasaannya ikut giliran selepas 12 tengah malam dia akan ada first bus.
Oh,
Tapi
yeah.
ni selepas subuh pun belum satu bas pun belum sampai. Jadi itu yang menyebabkan tahun ni dia mencabar sikit. Mana jemaah-jemaah haji tahun ni, shout out to all the jemaah haji tahun ni yang dapat cabaran ni. Tapi this is I think one of the sweet memory juga untuk you all. You akan ingat, you akan cerita
Yeah.
sama-sama kawan nanti.
Yeah, yeah.
It's something yang you akan ingat lah sebenarnya, I think.
Yeah, no, very in fact my phone pun dia punya apa
Wallpaper.
gambar screen dia is from gambar tu kan, just to remember the difficult times. It was a good memory lah. I think sekarang dah selamat semua. Okay
Yeah.
kan. At that time memang
Fikir nak mati je.
because you know I'm thinking myself and every minute counts. Every minute I'm thinking because you dengar cerita orang akan meninggal kat haji kan, and you're like wondering, bila orang meninggal kat haji kan? Or this must be it lah. So to me, every minute matters lah. So every minute I'm like worried. Like, oh no, how many people are gonna die? How many people are gonna die? How am I gonna survive? How am I gonna survive? So that constant macam psychoing yourself kan. But once dah dapat buzz tu memang rasa lega lah.
Tapi I tertarik satu benda yang you cakap tadi pasal doa dengan anak tu. I think there's something yang I think really hit.
I don't know about that because I tak tahu because bukan hidup ajal tu dah ditentukan Allah ke? I don't know if
Yes.
you can pray for, but to me that's not what's important lah. What's important is to me lah, and is yalah the you're worried about something, and then kepada Allah je lah yang you berserah.
Yes.
So I feel like it's I don't know.
But actually,
I don't know.
this is I cerita from my experience. Sometimes Allah just nak test us. Sebenarnya macam you betul-betul trust Him or not. Bukanlah kata you tak percaya. Cuma kadang sometimes kita tak betul-betul put fully trust on Him. So that time I
Yeah.
think you dah betul-betul berserah. You doa betul-betul. And then up hit. Then Alhamdulillah you save.
Yeah.
I think the best bus. I think
Yeah.
the best bus. And then I think the best journey for you.
Yeah. But this is a weird thinking lah. But I always wanted to mati kat sana.
Wow.
Like kalau aku mati pun tak apa lah. It's a good death tau. Macam I mean you're worried about it, but at the same time you're like, oh, this is a good death kan. I'll be like a hero kan. Like so dia banyak berserah lah. Like whatever happens lah. That's what I was thinking. Like kalau aku mati, aku mati lah. This is like if any time you can die, right, that is the best place to die lah.
But
And it's a little bit dramatic kan, but it's just because when you're in that situation, that's what you're thinking of kan, because you dah lepaskan all your tanggungjawab kerja semua, even your family members you dah tinggalkan dekat Malaysia kan, and you're over there, and you just you're trying to
just leave it to Him lah.
leave it to Allah, try to beribadat as much as you can. So
But from what happened this year cerita tadi, trust me or not, believe me or not, benda ni adalah Allah knows the best for you.
yeah.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Sebab kalau let's say lah, kalau you kata you kena jalan kan, maybe you cakap lah, maybe you mungkin dah tak cannot go kan. So that's the
Yeah.
best for you, dan you dapat bus yang memang
Yeah.
as yang you punya request lah from your heart,
Yeah.
deep of your heart, you memang request, dapat juga yang tu, Alhamdulillah lah.
Yeah.
So overall, that's the most memorable part for you.
That's the most memorable part. I mean, macam you mentioned tadi, tengok Kaabah tu memang it's a different experience. It's weird when I went for Umrah kan, I preferred Masjid Nabawi compared to
Yes, Masjid
Masjid
Haram
Haram. But when I went for Haji,
is different.
I love Masjid Haram like to the max lah kan. And Madinah, I mean Masjid Nabawi okay, yeah. but Masjid Haram was like
Something memorable.
something memorable. And we stayed at the hotel that was nearby, Jumeirah, and so every day almost every waktu can try it. If you stay at a hotel yang jauh sikit, katakan you go Muassasah, right, you won't be able to go to
Masjid.
Masjidil Haram time Zohor ke Asar ke,
Panas.
because panas. You will not do it. I tak tahu lah. Maybe you gagah gila, you will go in subuh and then you'll stay sampai malam. I don't know lah. But I don't think so. I think people go for subuh, they come back. And then Zohor Asar, dia semayang dekat wherever dia.
Hotel.
Kalau jauh, dia semayang kat dia punya hotel je. And then they come back for Maghrib. But because Jumeirah is so close, every waktu you can go.
Okay, we talk about Jumeirah later.
Oh, later. Okay, later.
Okay, cuma actually this story I think will inspire people juga macam mana Hajj tu kan, macam mana the experience. Macam Haji Kadam cerita sebab Muzdalifah yang betul-betul ni, tapi overall that thing yang you akan ingat selamanya, insyaAllah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay, so kita stop sekejap. Kita dah ambil the second session. Next session kita akan masuk the next session, insyaAllah. So stay tune, insyaAllah kita akan sambung selepas ini, selepas rehat. Okay. Okey, kembali dalam podcast lagi, Memori Haramain, yang ditaja oleh Amru, Butik Kelengkapan Haji dan Umrah anda. Okey, before kita masuk to the next punya question, kita ada rapid fire lah. Soalan yang kita tanya, you kena jawab satu jawapan lah.
Okay.
Try. You try, simple je. Related dekat sana juga. Okey. Paling best waktu kat Mekah tu, waktu apa? Subuh ke Zuhur ke Asar ataupun waktu apa yang you nak pergi tu you rasa best? Yang rasa
Subuh lah, subuh.
Okay.
Because semangat kan, bangun. Subuh dia awal, it's like
betul.
3 or 4 a.m.
Yes,
Can't remember.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. awal lah.
Okay.
Just go there, semangat lah.
Okay, kalau makanan kat sana apa yang you paling rindu?
Makanan kat Jumeirah, come on, everybody knows that Jumeirah makanan sedap gila. So the hotel is called Jumeirah, and it's very close to Masjid Haram.
Okay.
50 meter. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Okay. Oh, sure.
Okay. Sebab pergi dengan wife, okay.
Yep.
Selalu keluar dating ke?
I more of her going shopping lah. Dia pergi shopping lah. Yeah.
Okay. Air Zam-Zam suka sejuk ataupun biasa?
Biasa.
Biasa. Okay.
Not cold. Dia
not
tulis
cold lah.
not cold lah.
Okay. Last one. Antara semua perkara-perkara yang sepanjang haji tu, which one yang you akan ingat sampai bila-bila?
Kat sana?
Which part?
I think so. I tried very hard nak cium Hajar Aswad, and I failed 4 times. Failed 4 times. The 5th time berjaya. Tapi buat era semua dah selanggar. But yeah, 5th time berjaya. So that was I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but I try to tell myself, and this is probably not, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I was like, you know what? Kalau aku dapat cium this thing and I dapat doa for my daughter and supaya, I don't know, dia sembuh daripada dia punya autism ke apa kan. That motivated me to cium Hajar Aswad lah. So every time I failed, I was like, I'll try again. Maybe, you know, just one time if I get to kiss it and baca doa for my daughter, and that was the most memorable part for me lah. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. That's yang buat tersentuh bila you sebut pasal daughter je. Because I also ada daughter juga. So kadang-kadang bila kita nak doa something, kita akan rely tu.
Yeah. That was pretty much the only doa that I really wanted to makbul lah. I didn't really care about the rest. You know, I mean, yelah, mestilah ada doa naik pangkat ke apa. Banyak doa dia. Mudah rezeki, panjang umur, that kind of stuff kan. But the doa for my daughter was the most important one for me lah.
Okay, then kita masuk pada next punya question. Okay, di Mekah. Duduk di hotel Jumeirah Jabal
Yeah.
Omar.
Yes.
So actually Jumeirah Jabal Omar ni hotel yang baru I think tahun ni adalah tahun pertama hajinya. Jadi banyak orang Malaysia mungkin tak tahu pasal Jumeirah ni sebab Jumeirah ni di kawasan baru di Jabal Omar. Orang Malaysia ni biasa familiar dengan Safwa, Clock Tower, tapi Jumeirah is hotel yang sangat baru dan sebagai orang antara orang-orang pertama Malaysia yang duduk di Jumeirah sebab mereka ni masuk Jumeirah dulu juga.
Ah,
Jadi you can share your experience in Jumeirah.
yeah. So the first time kita sampai Jumeirah tu, I think kita disambut oleh dia punya staff kan.
Betul.
They were throwing rose petals. I was like, oh wow, okay. Orang tengah sambut kita dengan rose petals, lepas tu dia bagi kita kayu sugi kan. And then we're looking at the hotel, I was like, oh wow, this hotel is really grand. So hotel ni macam mahal semacam kan. It looks really, really expensive lah. Lepas tu bila tengok bilik dia besar,
Spacious lah.
spacious, you know,
Dia bilik 4
bilik berempat. Bilik berempat.
Bilik
Actually.
berempat yang ada macam suite kan masuk.
Dia ada suite. Dia macam masuk dalam sikit. There's a TV and then there's a big katil in front of the TV. Lepas tu dia ada
satu
ruang.
dalam.
Like a room lah.
Actually that one is suite lah. Biasanya kalau Jumeirah pergi dengan Bim Travel biasanya kita bagi suite sebabnya kalau typical punya bilik berempat dia akan sumbat macam like deluxe room for beds.
Oh yeah, no. Ni kata dia banyak ruang in between. Dekat Jumeirah tu banyak gila ruang ni. So it's not like kata-kata yang bersambung lah. So maybe if you go to Madinah, Azizia,
Different lah.
yeah, it's different lah. Dia kata
Standard,
quite
that one is
close.
standard lah.
But pleasant surprise lah, because I was prepared for something like that. Saya masuk, uish, ini macam dua hotel mewah je. Very spacious. Shower dia pun masuk juga.
Kita tengok dia punya shower gel, the brand
Brand dia mahal.
Hamosh.
You
boleh Google lah dia punya
yeah.
Dia punya perfume dia the cheapest is 1,000 plus lah.
Memang.
Dia punya shower tu pun kalau you Google pun harga dia 500, 600.
Yeah.
The shower.
It really felt luxurious lah. And then makanan dia memang out of this world lah. Makanan dia memang sedap gila.
There's not Malaysian food juga kan. Dia
macam-macam lah. Ada
Italy, pizza.
Pizza tu memang everyday makan. Dia ada pizza yang masak warna hijau.
Yes, that one.
That one I took. Every time makan I akan make that pizza. Apa lagi
Dia ada Indian food, Arab food.
Yeah. And
Malaysian food also ada.
Dia punya dessert dia pun mantap juga.
Like
is
dia punya tart, chocolate tart tu sedap.
If you eat at Jumeirah, it's better than the hotels in Malaysia lah.
Yes,
if you
of
go to
course.
hotel in Malaysia, makanan tak sesedap Jumeirah lah. Jumeirah tu memang sedap.
And then it's full board, right? It's full board.
Full board?
Yeah, 3 times a day.
Oh yeah. 3 times a day, yeah. Memang tambah berat lah. Yes. You go there expect you confirm makan banyak lah. Berapa kali, berapa round makan kan. We first went to Jumeirah and then
Azizia.
after that we went to Azizia, right? And then we went back to Jumeirah. So by the time we got back to Jumeirah, kita dah, I think, how many days were we in Azizia?
It's about 11 days.
11 days lah. So dah, because you dah rasa nikmat Jumeirah when you first arrive, and then you go to Azizia for 11 days. By the time we got back, we were like, Jumeirah, makanan dia. Alhamdulillah, ambil gambar makanan. It's so good. They even had salmon semua.
Yes, salmon.
Salmon. Every hidangan ada salmon. You can.
Yang baru ni dia orang baru upgrade beef Wellington.
Yeah.
There's different lah.
Kena lagi. But yeah, the food in Jumeirah is out of this world. Sedap. There's one Malay chef.
Yeah, Malay chef. Chef Rizwan.
Chef tu bila dia masak sedap. Kadang-kadang
dia selera lah, kena selera kita lah.
Kalau ada, you can actually request
best
masakan from him. Be like, buat nasi lemak bro kan. Nanti dia buat nasi lemak the next day tu. Yeah.
So dia ada juga, tak silap dia ada durian juga. Dia ada local punya fruit kan.
Ada. I don't eat durian.
Durian. Tapi ada local fruit jugalah. Macam kita tengok ada manggis, rambutan semua. Memang ada jugalah. Okay, so how about di masjid? Is it convenient?
Masjid, convenient, because they had a new wing,
Yes.
the new bangunan kan. So I always prayed there. Uh, Gate 100. I always go to that gate. Sembahyang kat situ sebab nak nampak Kaabah kan. And I think the only time when it's like just banyak gila orang kan, and you kena pergi awal is time sembahyang Jumaat lah.
Betul.
So sembahyang Jumaat you have to go early.
Yes.
Pergi, I probably go 3 hours earlier
Yes, 3
before
hours.
sembahyang sembahyang
Pukul
Jumaat.
9 you dah kena pergi lah.
Dah kena pergi lah. Kalau tak, boleh
You
boleh sembahyang tu boleh
dataran
kat
lah.
kat koridor lah.
Yes, koridor.
Koridor lah dia sembahyang. Jaga air sembahyang tu, jangan terbatal air sembahyang. Jaga air sembahyang is one of the struggles lah if you pergi haji
Tapi
kan.
dari segi macam jarak ni, you pergi lah sekejap kan? I mean, to mosque about
Sekejap je.
5
Sekejap.
minit.
Yes, 5 minutes yeah. 5 minutes.
So if I'm not mistaken, Jumeirah ni, you boleh terus ke dataran. I mean, no transit lobby, right? Daripada bilik,
You go down and
C1.
then you cross a very short street yang tak ada kereta, and
Then,
then
terus
there's
pergi
like an
dataran.
escalator.
Terus naik kan?
Terus naik terus sampai dataran. So it's very close.
Convenient lah.
Even if you're older, right? Even if you're old, I don't think if you're mobile, it won't be a struggle for you. Kalau you boleh jalan kaki, it wouldn't be a struggle for you. So
So I think,
highly recommended lah that place.
so Jumeirah ni kira I think sesuai lah untuk orang pergi haji kan?
Sesuai. I mean, I don't know lah. Bagi I prepare myself to go for a struggle lah.
Struggle.
I'm preparing myself for a struggle kan. Sekali dapat macam pergi berkelah pula kan. So I'm like, rasa, I don't know lah, tak ada lah rasa bersalah kan, but rasa macam like, oh, this is not what I expected kan. I expected it to be difficult kan.
Sebab ada satu Jumaat ni, sampai dia rasa bersalah nak upload sebab dia kata rasa macam belagak pula.
Betul. I pun tak upload.
So takut macam too much lah.
It's too nice. It's too nice. But bagus lah kan. Bagus lah kan.
That's
You're going
how.
to spend money.
Yelah.
Spend it.
At least you rasa macam well spent lah.
No. It's definitely worth your money lah. Definitely worth your money.
Okay, thank you for the feedback, for the ni, Panyu. Tadi rasanya itu sahaja untuk kita punya sesi kali ni.
Yeah.
And then before kita tutup, maybe some of apa yang you nak cakap dekat siapa yang belum pergi, nak pergi ataupun teringin nak pergi, what your advice as a orang muda, also orang yang masih sihat.
Well, I think if you haven't registered, please register as soon as you can. Kalau and prepare yourself to go for haji with an open mind. I'm a little bit more conservative, so I was expecting it to be super duper difficult, but it was pleasantly not as hard as I thought it was going to be. Maybe because Mim was such a good host, kan dapat banyak bimbingan towards the entire journey, and I always look forward lah to the next day. Pergi ceramah ustaz, do all the on top of the ibadah. There's so many things you can do, and so go to haji with an open mind. I was very humbled with the experience. I feel like there's nothing like haji lah. There's nothing like haji in this entire world, and you can only do it once because it's starting to be difficult to do haji. So if you get called to go for haji, or if you haven't registered, you register for it. Try your best to kejar haji lah. Kejar the haji, because it's like a feeling like no other lah. I don't think you can. There's no substitute for haji lah.
Yes.
There's no substitute. I mean, you have to experience it for yourself. You have to be there, berdiri depan Kaabah tu, tawaf dekat Kaabah, kena tolak sikit dengan orang, that experience. is a great experience lah. I think I would encourage everyone, if you can. I don't care what your ages are. Right? Kalau you dah balik, just
Just
just register, just go for haji. Go with him. Go with him. Seriously, go with him. I've done the research, so, and I've talked to a few friends who went for different agencies. I mean, I would highly recommend him lah. In fact, if my parents dapat call for haji, my mom has been applying for haji every year Merayu. Tapi tak dapat again.
should Merayu with me.
Definitely will tell her to go with me lah. I think yalah kan. Is always, you want to do your best at something so rare kan. Bukan selalu dapat pergi haji. So you want to do your best. You need help lah. You need help along the way. Macam ilmu agama ni kurang sikit. But I found MIM to be very inclusive. My roommates were like fantastic. We're friends up until today. We hung out. Even dah balik Malaysia pun kita hang out kan. So, yelah kan. It's a journey lah. It's a journey. You get help along the way. It's only once in a lifetime. Seize the opportunity lah. Do as best as you can. And you will have certain expectations, but don't be surprised lah if your expectations and what actually happens, it might be different. Pergi dengan hati tenang. Don't go to haji marah-marah semua kan.
Betul.
Just go dengan hati tenang. Kena tolak, relax je. Don't go there with an open heart lah. If I could advise people lah. I mean, I'm not one to advise people lah, but if there's any advice I could give, go with an open heart. You'll be surprised how people want to help you. Macam I ilmu agama tak adalah bagus sangat, but it was very inclusive lah, and I felt welcome, and I banyak belajar juga, and so, and tak ada sekali pun I rasa macam I macam tak layak pergi haji. Because I'm not that alim or whatever, right?
You feel part of it.
I feel part of it, and there wasn't, tak ada sekali pun I felt rejected. Macam oh, kau ni kenapa kau yang muda yang macam compare you dengan someone yang betul-betul alim tapi tak dapat pergi haji. I never felt that I wasn't included. So yalah, it was a very wholesome experience lah juga. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Haji Adam. Apa yang diperkatakan oleh Haji Adam, basically it's journey of heart. You agree on that? It's journey of heart dan jemputan Allah. Dan kalau macam Haji Adam kata, kalau you pergi dengan hati yang open, you memang betul-betul nak berserah pada dia, insya-Allah Allah akan mudahkan. Dan tak ada yang susah, dan tak ada benda-benda yang pelik, tak nampak Kaabah ke ataupun tiba-tiba macam-macam kan. Tapi overall it's a great experience for him. Macam dia kata, bukanlah dia kata macam Haji Adam kata, it's not you macam very religious punya, tapi macam mana Allah sayang dia, Allah panggil dia, Allah buat dari cerita-cerita dia sangat-sangat menyentuh hati. Macam mana time dia susah, dia doa, dia ingat anak dia, dan how Allah makbulkan doa dalam itu sahaja. So jadi thank you so much again to Haji Adam. Dan before kita close kita punya podcast ni, saya nak bagi sedikit cenderahati pada Haji Adam. Okay, cenderahati daripada penaja kita iaitu Amro.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much again, Haji Adam, and then kirim salam for to your wife, and then insyaAllah pada kita punya alumni Ijai Kul. InsyaAllah, thank you so much. Shout out Ijai,
I love it.
for recommending him, and then insyaAllah you akan dapat saham je lah daripada dia punya Haji Mabrur ni, insyaAllah. Okay, itu sahaja. Terima kasih pada yang setia menonton, dan harap ada sedikit inspirasi pada anda yang belum mengerjakan haji, belum mengerjakan umrah, nak pergi tanah haram, nak pergi Haramain, insya-Allah sedikit sebanyak dapat memberi inspirasi dan insya-Allah dapat membantu anda untuk pergi menjadi tamu Allah. Itu sahaja, terima kasih sekali lagi kepada Amru selaku penaja utama. InsyaAllah kita bertemu lagi dalam podcast akan datang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.